Hi folks, I'm James and welcome back to the Hobby Corner. Today we're finishing off the main part of the Adeptus Titanicus Reaver build by putting together the second Reaver and making sure everything's ready to be painted. I'm starting off by building all the parts of each leg separately, so we'll end up with the pelvis, thighs, shins and feet all built and ready to be posed and assembled. When it comes to the shins, I'm leaving the pistons off until I've posed and glued the legs completely. Otherwise they'll never sit correctly, and it's impossible to know exactly how the pose will affect the position of the feet pistons connect to. I will say, even though this kit is small, it's really well designed, and everything goes together very easily and quickly. Although there are fiddly bits, such as the leg pistons, void shield generators on top of the torso, and some pipes that connect from the legs up to the pelvis. Other than that, it's a very straightforward kit. A few things to really look out for are the shin orientation. The eagles should be at the back. Pelvis orientation, the longer plate should be at the front. And the toe position of the feet. The armoured toe at the front of the foot is slanted. This slant should go upwards away from the body of the Titan. Otherwise the armour panel above it won't sit correctly. If you mix up the feet build in yours, it's not a major issue, but it's good to double check. I've got the previous set of legs I've built for reference, but I find the easiest thing to do is glue the thighs to the pelvis first. You don't need them rotated much to get a reasonable walking pose out of them, but dry fitting here is the key. Just keep going back and forth until you've got the thighs in the right place, and then glue them. I try to give each one a bit of time to glue in position, otherwise the whole thing could fall apart if I push it too hard. When it comes to the shins, they only really move back and forth, but there's no real limit on where you position them. Keep in mind, you have to glue a knee plate on later, so having a Reaver with reverse jointed knees doesn't work too well. It's best to leave that to the Warhounds. At this point, it's good to get the feet in roughly the right position on the base, as this will help you get the right shin position. I find there's a lot of experimentation in this part of the build. The ability to pose the Titan however you want can get fiddly, but a generic walking pose is always a good way to go. I've drilled a small pilot hole through the top of the shoulder fitting to allow me to use my 2mm drill bit on the underside to fit the magnets for the weapon arms. The hole for the 5mm magnet for the carapace weapon already exists, so that's a simple matter of putting the magnet on the blank end of a drill bit and pushing it into the fitting with a dab of super glue. The 2mm magnets I'll put in with the same method, using one of the weapons to help get polarity correct on the magnet. Otherwise the weapons won't magnetise and it'll be a job to get the magnet out, and probably rebuild part of the shoulder joint using green stuff. Another quick tip, always to double check, or even triple check, the magnet polarity. I messed this up on a Contemptor Dreadnought and had to drill the magnet out and rebuild part of Power Fist with green stuff. Once the magnets are all done and checked, I glue the heads on and the little extra cables between the legs, and then I tried out all the weapon options on both Titans to make sure I hadn't messed anything up. They're not glued to the bases at the moment, as I want to prime the bases separately and glue the model on. Overall, the Reaver kit is a very nice kit to build. Definitely advise reading the instructions thoroughly, and keep referring to the finished pictures if there is anything you're not sure about. But that advice really applies to most model kits. Obviously you don't have to magnetise the weapons if you don't want to, it's entirely optional, but it does mean that you can easily try different loadouts without having to buy more Titans. And there you have it. With the Reavers built, it's now onto the painting stage. So thank you everyone for watching, and join me next time for more hobby.